Good morning, Jamie. How are you?
Yes, all good. All good in the hood.
Yeah, all good
Nursed
in
a
the
bit
hood.
of a bad back. So, yeah, and just old man back, coming back to get me. It's all good.
What happened?
Dave Schronke told me I could wear a belt, and I must have used it incorrectly.
I know, I thought a belt was supposed to stop you from getting a bad back.
Yeah, I think when you use it correctly, it's probably pretty good. I think I was just a bit out of practice with it. So gone back to just making sure I'm actually, maybe my warm-up wasn't as good as well. So you learn, and like
You do?
you ride in the line of being in the shape you want to be in. It's never going to be easy. So
If you're fidgeting around like this, and like this,
yeah, sorry.
that's why. And you're not sat on, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not on a Swiss ball. I'm not like 8 months pregnant on a Swiss ball. Don't you worry about that.
Right, so this is our first week back into this kind of next block of training, which is going to lead us into the Open now. So we've actually got this week starting the 7th. That's 1 week. Then we've got the week starting the 14th, and then on the 3rd week the Open starts.
Yep.
So this next 2 weeks should set us up nicely for the 3 weeks after, when we've got the Open, which I hope everyone's excited for.
Yeah, I definitely. It's like such a cool time. It's like you've had Christmas, then you've had a bit of training, and then it's like Christmas again. Like all the coaches know, it's like Christmas Eve on that Thursday evening. So yeah, exciting times.
Good. Have you started to kind of organise now what you guys are doing for the Open? I know we chatted about it the other day on that other video, but have you started to put things in motion already, or did you do it a few weeks ago before that, or when do you usually?
I think a couple of conversations are going on about just the organisation of who's going to do what roles. So for instance, like I'll be visible on that Friday evening to kind of help be at the front, making sure everyone knows where they're going. Obviously done it the most amount of times. Then pretty sure one of our coaches, Anna's great at kind of rallying the troops and like palming it out onto social media. And then a few of the other guys, like they'll be watching this video. So a guy called Chris, he keeps talking about not doing the Open this year, but he probably will. He's currently, he was the fittest in the UK or possibly Europe in the Open last year. So he's scared of losing his title. So now when he's listening to this, a lot of people now know that if they don't see Chris Wardlow on the leaderboard, he's bottled it.
What division's he in?
He is in the 55 to 59.
Right, okay.
Not the year class.
I'll be leaderboarding on the 55 to 59 now, looking for his name.
The downside is best mate Pat, who's come back from a double hip operation, is training with us now. So he's been to the games a couple of times, and he just loves getting in the mixer, and he's moving way better. Like obviously you saw him when he was at the games, he was hanging on by a thread with his hips. So he's moving far better. He looks like he's in no pain anymore. Good. Whereas the months leading into the games, as you well know, the training is so intense and so voluminous, even at his age, that it was breaking him down and he just couldn't recover. So once he finished in 2019, he's gone away, hip surgery, hasn't really done anything since, and now he's building it back up.
Well, it's good that he's back. On that note as well, he actually got the best 4 at max front squat in his division, didn't he? Was it that at the games or for the qualifiers?
2 rep
games?
max.
2 rep max.
2 rep max front squat at
with some
53 years old, 157.5 kilos.
Serious numbers.
Serious weight.
I mean, I'd be happy if I could do that right now, to be fair.
Mate, I could barely get off this chair, so yeah, me too.
Let's get stuck into this week's training. So it's the week starting the 7th of February. The first 2 days kind of really stand out for me, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on both of these. So we start off with some kind of snatch intervals. I just really want to quickly kind of say there's obviously doing those snatch under interference. If that's a real struggle for some members who, really struggle with snatching as it is, what I'd done on the strength bias and JST athlete is just flick it around. So I'll put the snatches first and then the toaster bar and then the double unders, or if the toaster bar are pretty good, maybe put them last instead. So that means that they can hit the snatches a bit fresher, and then on the EMOMs after, obviously they've then got a chance to build the weight a little bit more and hit some more good reps while the kind of heart rate's coming down there. So that's just one way straight off the bat where you can tailor this workout to the individual a little bit more. Now, for most people, obviously, ideally want to keep the same, the same format, but for the beginner, or like I say, for someone that really struggles, that's a good way to kind of just flip that around. What have you got on this workout? What do you want to tell us?
Yeah, so that's a great bit of advice for those guys. It's a confidence booster as well. You come in on Monday and you're already nervous about snatching, and then you get absolutely hammered with some fatigue around it. So the things that I'd be focusing on when I'm actually in and coaching this class is really hammering home the scales for the toaster bar and the double unders. So it's taken from an open workout that most of the time people just look at the end weights where it was a progressively weight orientated thing. They're like, oh my God, I can't snatch that. But then 9 times out of 10, it's the volume of toaster bar, which has been reduced from the open because it's normally 25. Mm-hmm. And that's where most people get hung up. They do a big set. They do like a 15 and a 5 in their first interval. They bang out the double unders, they get their snatch, and then they're like, oh, okay, got like a minute's rest, maybe 90 seconds rest. And they're like, I'm going to smash this. Then they jump up, second set of toaster bar, 5 threes, look at the coach, singles, singles, singles. What am I going to do? So realistically, you want to be thinking, I can do 20 plus unbroken toaster bar. That would allow you to do 20 toaster bar. So if you're kind of in front of the group and thinking, okay, should I be doing the 20? Maybe bring that number down to 15, somewhere where you can get there in 3 sets comfortably and break them up from the start. This is a longer workout. You want to think of this as 5 rounds of whatever the number of toaster bar, not 1 round and then a small break.
Yeah.
So that's the main conversation I'd be having with them.
On that note, again, we've not actually tested a 5-minute AMRAP of toaster bar in the past, have we? But that, for those that have, roughly 20% of what that is. So there's 100 toaster bar there. If you're hitting, 20%, that's 20 toaster bar. If you've got a rough guide of how many you can hit in, 3 to 5 minutes, use that as a guide. Or like Jamie said, if your max and broken set of toaster bar is 20 reps, right, in and around 75% of what you want, your max and broken set is as well, to give you a bit of a guide there. But like Jamie said, break up those toaster bar early, because then last couple of rounds, you'll be crawling onto the barbell.
Yeah. Great video, Rich Fronin doing this workout. Obviously, with the squat cleans, it's like one of the most viewed videos, like 19.2. He's got more than 25 unbroken. I think he does a 15 and a 10 to start with, and then he goes on. His double unders are quick, his transitions are on point, and then he's on the bar and he's got a good quick setup. Like, learn from the best. Like, he's smooth. He's not trying to do too big a sets on the toaster bar. He's not looking like the last couple of reps are hard until he gets right to the very end sets. So if you want to show out to your members like how it's supposed to be done to a variation, you're there.
We then get a chance to build up heavy after as well, which is good to get a heavy stimulus in. Again, just important that we're touching on all aspects of CrossFit. And again, you've got to earn the right. You've got to do it under fatigue after doing the interval. So we rest 3 minutes after the workout, then we've got an EMOM for 5 minutes. You want to be banging every single rep there. So if that means kind of adjusting the weight slightly, if it's feeling good, bump it up a tad. If it's not feeling great, bump it down a little bit. Because then from there, if you hit 5 good reps, you're going to set yourself up to hit a decent heavy single after that.
Yep. Definitely. On the flip side, if you come off it and you're absolutely shot, your grip's gone, your midline's all over the place, just use that 5 minutes into the 5 minutes as a 10-minute EMOM, and you're just working your drills. You're practicing. You may think, oh, my shoulders are a bit knackered. I might just be snatch grip deadlifting or snatch pulling, just to kind of get back to that position where we're feeling good about what's going on.
Yeah, good stuff. Plenty of ways that class can be tailored to the individual there, which is great. On to Tuesday. People, this you're going to be getting hate mail after this one.
Yeah. So so originally on the athlete plan, this is friendly Fran intervals. So the semi-finals of the games, the one where it was online, they had the thrusters chest to bar, where Matt Fraser absolutely separated himself from every other person in the whole world. But how do we create that intensity if we're not Matt Fraser? And one of the things we did, we took two factors into consideration: the fact that there was hanging off the pull-up bar the day before, and the fact that we can keep moving on burpees versus chest to bar pull-ups or a pull-up variation. So we ended up with you go, I go, 16-minute AMRAP, 2 rounds, 12 thrusters, 10 bar facing burpees, and then switch with your partner. So it's not a matter of you've got those big guys. Like for me, 1 round of that, sign me up. I can manage that rest. Yeah. It's whether you can get into that second round, hold a high intensity, and then hold your quality on your bar facing burpees in the second set. I think that's going to really expose those inefficient movers, is that when your legs and your hips have just given up, it's being able to then continue to move on those burpees. But yeah, hate mail is to Jack at JST. And you can forward it over to me, so we're all good.
And I'll forward them on to Jamie.
Yeah, sweet.
A question on this. So if I see that there's 2 people together, one of them they've done 2 rounds, on to the 3rd round, and I can see Cliff Richard. They are going to be meeting Cliff Richard.
Yeah.
What are you telling those people before they meet Cliff?
I think it's about just trying to meet them at their level. So you have that person who is very stubborn, and if you go to them in the middle of the workout and ask them to change the weight or reduce the reps, you're going to be met with the wall. They're in their zone. They're like, I know I can do this, but we know they can't. Sometimes it's a matter of you have to let them fall off the cliff a few times to understand the consequence, and you kind of remind them what's happening to their partner's workout when they're like looking at the bar or not doing the burpees. Because again, that is a tough conversation. Not everyone will react positively to you telling them to do something less because they're failing. On the flip side, you have the ideal member. You're like, you can see it happening. You come over, you ask them how they're going and see if it can be their led. They're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the next set. You're like, okay, what are we going to do then? And then hopefully they make that decision. They're like, I need to drop that weight down, or I'm going to reduce the volume of thrusters so I can keep them unbroken. So there's 2 different ways. And it really is, one day you might have that Jekyll and Hyde member. The member comes in, they're really responsive, and then they've had a shit day at work and they're a bit stressed, their anxiety level's a bit high, and you go to them with that same intent and you're like, oh my God, I got the wrong response. So that kind of flips back to the whiteboard or your meet and greet where you're like, how you doing? And if they don't respond the same way, you've just got to try and work them out while they're in the warm up. And that just does come with time, but that comes with communication. So yeah, a couple of different ways to hopefully stop the Cliff Richard, but sometimes it's inevitable.
We've got a little bit of accessory work after that, some strict pull-ups. Again, this will be a good little kind of cool down as well, really. So upper body work mixed in with some core. Be having some conversations while people are doing that as well. Like ask how they think the workout went. Did they go in a bit too hard? Similar conversations to what Jamie was kind of talking about there. So yeah, that finishes off Tuesday. Wednesday is a bit of a different one.
Yeah,
Rich Froning-esque this is kind of a classic workout that you'd see him do back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of looked at wanting to get bench press in, and I totally understand the the difficulty in the logistics. CrossFit gyms don't have as many benches as, say, they have racks and XYZ and getting members through. So done our best to kind of accommodate with whatever equipment you've got. We've put floor presses in as on the notes. You could do these as like push presses if you really needed to. And we've also covered kind of if anyone has any shoulder injuries. A lot of people are scared of the bench press from a shoulder impingement point of view, but I'm a big advocate of, if we do these movements right, they shouldn't cause harm, as long as we're warming up correctly. So we've got the press matrix in there, and as long as we're performing the movement safely. So I tend to advise our members to take the same grip as when they're going overhead, so it has a good transfer and carryover. I know some people can go wider, but that's not necessarily what we're after. So the bench press strength piece is more to prime people and get people kind of up to speed on the bench. So it's a bit like an extended warm-up for the workout. So for those newer members, it's just trying to get them to feel out their technique, know what they do with their feet, know how they can keep their butt and their shoulder blades on the bench. For those other guys, it's can you go above the weight of what you're going to use in the workout? And then that means that then you can back it off and then go in. Anything else to add on the strength bit before I guess about the workout?
I feel like it's a great piece where you can just emphasize a few, important points about the bench, because we don't do it that much. It's like, what are the 3 key points that people need to be doing when doing the bench press? I think first of all, just going through like a safe unrack really with a partner is a big one just to start, because like I say, we don't do it much, and same for the floor press. And then the next thing might be like, right, where you're bringing the bar down to as a rough guide. And I really like the thing of, drilling, trying to screw your feet into the floor so you're kind of maintaining some tension all the way through your body as well. But again, that depending on your coaching style and what you feel like is important, you emphasize your 3rd point or your 3 points as to what you feel you need to get across.
Yeah. The workout.
So
workout's been written in a way that this was definitely an old school Rich Froning workout. I think he used to program it, not as specifically as this, but normally I think it's called the Tin Man. If you watch one of like the very, very first Froning videos where he's in that Tennessee Tech gym, which is just like old school CrossFit.
Yeah.
5 sets of 5, as in 5 rounds of 5 bench press, 5 power cleans. He uses 225 and just goes between the 2, and everyone's amazed that he's just banging this. So we've kind of written it in a way that allows people to be safe and then also get quite a few people rolling through. So you stagger people. Doesn't really matter where people start. You can feed them in if you've got time. So person 1 starts the bench, and then we just each minute you add someone into the list, or you can start someone on a different station. So whenever you're resting after your power cleans, you'll be spotting the person bench pressing, just making sure 1, they've got the right weight, 2, they're being safe, because this catches a lot of people out. When there's a bit of external fatigue or the power cleans, all of a sudden the bench press gets a bit harder, so people get caught out. We want this to feel like a heavy day. Okay, so we're not necessarily going to be flying through sets of 5. We're going to have to brace and have to hold ourselves up. On the power cleans, good footwork, but we're aiming for kind of 5 tough singles across that minute. So maybe a rep every 10 seconds. So it's a good opportunity to kind of get some heavy weights. And this will be a good bit of fun. I think you're in groups of 4. Everybody's kind of having a bit of a good time. We're not chasing anything. So it should be good fun and set out for success.
Yeah. I think just emphasizing as well, like this can easily be done in a group of 4. You could either have it where 2 people are on the same minute, 1 starts on 0 and 1 starts on 30, as an example, on the bench press. On the power cleans, you could do you go, I go, if you feel like it'd be tough to get it in the 30 seconds. But yeah, it's just making sure that someone's there to help get the bar off the rack on the bench press. I think that's probably the most important thing to emphasize there.
Definitely.
Cool. That looks like a really fun day. I've no doubt all the bros will be getting in for that one.
Totally.
On to Thursday, we obviously did Mikko's Triangle, or a variation of, a couple of weeks back now. this is a bit of a progression of Mikko's Triangle. So you give a couple of different options, which is great. For this particular piece, we should be looking for a couple more reps than what we got, or a couple more cows than what we got a couple of weeks ago. How did Mikko's Triangle go a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, I think it's for the guys and girls that have done it, because we've done it periodically, kind of throughout the Blitz being open for the last 8 years. So some of them are well versed in understanding. I've just got to get in, pick a number, and then whatever that number is, I'm sticking to. I think for a lot of new members, I think they got the kind of 15 to 22 minute shock, which everyone gets, where they're like, oh my God, I'm getting to halfway. It's biting really hard. What am I going to do? But then the euphoria of, I always find this whenever we're doing a 40-minute EMOM, from like minutes 24 to 26 up to like 32, it's just all a bit of a blur. And then I'm like, oh, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And then when you get everyone, it's a tough workout to have time to talk after because of the length of the workout. But I always try to get them either back on their machines or all stretching together, because you'll notice the endorphins start flying pretty early. So everyone's really talking to each other post-workout. Everyone's like, oh my God, that was hard. This was the hardest one. And like a lot of members will shy away from these kind of things if they're not very good on the machines. So it's just kind of trying to recruit those members earlier in the week and say, look, to get better on the machines, got to come in, give it a bit of a go. Look, I know you don't like down ups, but like get in and get some volume into you. But yeah, like Jack said, a couple more calories, still hit the same time frame, so you'd have rest. That was one thing that we really hammered home. You don't work to 58 seconds on Mikko unless you're trying to go for like a 20 calorie score. But just keep those same time frames in mind. So it's a minute on, 15 seconds off.
Yeah, good stuff. On to Friday. This good posterior chain piece. And we've got some strict weighted pull-ups in there as well, which is kind of nice to see. Is a heavier upper body stimulus for a bit of a change as well. Again, just touching on all those different elements. We got touch and go deadlifts today, which is something we probably don't do a lot of. But this is the time to just make sure we've got a bit of volume in the bank on them. Because if a higher rep deadlift workout comes up, we don't want to be DOMs for days after. I want to emphasize the point on the touch and go deadlifts. It's still a controlled movement. It's not car crash reps down to the floor. You should barely hear the reps touching the floor. And we really emphasize that to the guys in Wigan when we're kind of coaching them on deadlifts. Whenever they're doing touch and go stuff, when they're training, we barely want to hear the plates touching the floor. Like if we do, that bar's coming down too fast or not controlled. So yeah, that's a key point that I want to emphasize there. Anything you want to add?
I think from a weight perspective, 60 to 70% is roughly where those open weights are for your regular member. They'll probably be a little bit heavier than the open weights for those stronger members. But all in all, we want to be having the conversation about the men's weights in the open are normally 100. Maybe there's one workout it went to 125, and for the women's it's like 70 to then maybe 80 or 90 at the very most. But the strict weighted pull-ups, we put progressions in there or regressions where go down to those banded pull-ups. Where a lot of people got humbled yesterday with the accessory work after the weightlifting, where they're like, oh my God, banded pull-ups. And I did write banded pull-ups on the board because I wanted to break the taboo of members not wanting to use the band because it said strict pull-ups. So I put strict banded pull-ups and then hung loads of bands up before they all turned up. And then that allowed me, everyone then just tried it. And then it was like, oh, okay, one guy was on the edge. He used like a purple band, so that medium band. And he just got to 15. And I was like, see what happens next round. He got like 12, and then he was like hanging on for 10. He was like, that's the sorest I've felt doing pull-ups. So don't be afraid to kind of, the strict weighted ones are for those top members. As long as they reach the rep schemes, life's good. And And it will also make your deadlifts a little bit harder, because that upper back for those higher volume sets, just make sure at those later reps and those later sets on the deadlifts, the upper back is nice and set, rather than losing that upper back and then losing the lower back, and then we've got that car crash rep.
Yeah, good. Obviously, that's a big posterior chain day. Earlier in the week, we had a big anterior day on the Wednesday, so it evens it out there. And then to finish off Friday, super simple, 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off, 5 rounds. It's just really going to hurt. The idea of this is to maintain the highest, that just be consistent on all rounds. So the highest pace you can consistently hit, 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off. If you're on a rower, I know that's going to be above 300 meters for guys, above 270 for ladies as a rough guide. Trying to think of other machines when we're equating that to, if you're doing it on the assault bike, hitting 25 plus for a guy. Maybe kind of 18 for the ladies on the assault bike there. Is a very rough guide. So just get the music on and head down.
Definitely a conversation for coaches to be talking about that effort sometimes. Like if we are flicking it, if a few people are a bit nervous about their number, I know when we did Mikko, a few people they didn't want to tell me their numbers at the whiteboard. I was like, doesn't matter what anyone else is doing, it's more just for your own reference. And if you gave it 100% effort, the number is whatever it is. So it's a good Friday one where we've got some deadlifts in there, but then ultimately they're going to come away with a massive blow. Get them to pair up on machines, because then you can make the room a bit more condensed, the environment there, that someone's always working, as opposed to if everyone's got their own machine, what tends to happen is there's always a lull. So there's that off. Whereas if the music's firing the whole time, this is 10 minutes of like absolutely ragging it.
I think a good bit of skill work to go through before this machine workout is just how to get started on the rower or on the bike as quick as possible. So going through sprint starts, whatever machine people are using. Ski erg, that's a bit of a different one that a lot of people probably have never gone through before. So going through a sprint start and a ski erg, just things like that. Good bits of skill work. And also, if people are pairing up, quick ways to get in and out of the rower. Big one.
Formula One pit crews.
And jumping off the bike, to be honest. Jump off the bike, other person comes on your other side. Things like that. Loads of kind of coaching points that you can go through before going into that simple workout. On to Saturday, the 12th of Feb. Big, juicy partner workout. What inspired this one, Jamie?
So this was, I looked at the Wadapalooza workout. I'm glad he spotted it. I spotted it. So there was a workout there, which was it 55-55? Obviously, elite individuals are banging that on their own. I wanted something like that to kind of replicate the two movements, but also keep the intensity right where it needed to be for the everyday member. So I put a partner run in there and also made it a bit more interesting, I'd say is the word, where you carry your dumbbells. So you just take one of those dumbbells each, and then you take it for the 400 meters. So it's not necessarily a run, it's more of a jog or a fast walk. It also is going to give you a bit of a break from the toaster bar and the devil press. So if we do need to scale it, get rid of the dumbbell and just keep yourself moving. But I just wanted a break from the relentlessness of the grip and the shoulders from toaster bar and devil press. You're splitting the work however you want. I would say it's a good bit of fun where you're just going backwards and forwards. You're probably doing your go every kind of 10 to 15 seconds rep numbers. So it's 3 to 5 toaster bar, jump down. I don't think there's any benefit in trying to do big sets of 10 to 15, because if you do that on the toaster bar, your midline's going to be shot, and then you go to do a devil's press and it probably gets to about shoulder height before the dumbbells start traveling south again, which is not good for anyone.
it's similar length workout to the arc one that we had. Was it the back end of last week as well?
Well, it's tomorrow. And what
tomorrow.
we said about people will think it's a partner workout. I've got a screenshot of one of our members going, I was just about to ask, is this a partner workout? And then I read the notes. He's a very good member. He's a very good friend, Jazz. And I was like, you've nailed that. So yeah, very similar in terms of its length and its feel in terms of difficulty. But you can share this pain versus the other one. You're not sharing it.
It is a partner workout. I was speaking to Mark Conway from Berserk yesterday, and he did the art workout a couple of days earlier. He's co-owns Berserk, and he said it was a great workout. I think the time cap it's 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a time cap where if you are fit, you will finish that workout. I think he was just short of finishing it. It was spot on. Like the notes were kind of just bang on exactly how you should play it. Yeah. Good to get stuck into a longer workout every now and again, especially with this period as well. It's like there's a lot of intensity, and it can be hard to recover from, especially as we're doing more of it. So just chucking in that longer workout where you can just like cruise a little bit more. It's just a nice antithesis. Don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. Awesome. And then on the Sunday, I feel like I recognize this workout as well. We've done this before, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit me with this one.
So I kind of sometimes I'm not always putting partner workouts, and then the next day, like again, technically this is a partner workout. But what I wanted to do is, like Jack said, that this is technically only 10 minutes of work if you're splitting this work evenly. So I was conscious of I wanted a mover, but I didn't want something that was going to be too taxing on the body. So we've kind of gone for moves that are going to keep the midline nice and tight, going to keep those legs moving. And then there's a bit of like good aerobic breathing. So if you don't have a partner, you can just kind of split this into kind of a minute work, minute rest, and then just cruising through it. On the air squats, you can just like, again, do the same thing, do it like a Tabata interval where you're just working and resting. And then there's a bit of time at the end to kind of push on that rower at the end if you want some more kind of bang for your buck. But yeah, these Sunday sessions are kind of, like Jack said, the intensity is high in the week, the workload and the volume on the body is difficult. So it's a matter of you'll come away, good sweat on. Members always like that on a Sunday. They want a simple mover. So yeah, it kind of lines it up with a bit of accessory work after.
Awesome. Again, if I'm coaching this workout, I'd be like, if I see someone's been in most days this week, I'd be like, right, you two are going, I want you to try and row at 22 strokes per minute. Start off like that. On the synchro air squats, I want you to change your stance every 5-10 reps. Again, just to kind of take the emphasis off that intensity and just make sure they kind of, again, just focusing on quality of work. Awesome. I feel like that's pretty much it for this week.
I think we were going to talk about on the Monday and the Tuesday, those two workouts. If you've got those more competitive members, so the guys that are signed up for the Open, they'll take it serious, as in they want to give it a bit of a crack. They may get the quarterfinal nudge, that kind of thing, or they're on that verge in the Masters categories. If they're doing well and they do well on both of those workouts, it's a bit of a litmus test to say, right, you're probably in a good shape to do well. If one of them comes out, or one of those workouts comes out and you're a little bit deficient, it might be like, okay, I need to just do some more burpees and thrusters. They're one of the ones that you just get them in the system, and after a few weeks of doing them, they'll get better. Or it's like, okay, I need to refine that snatch. Now, realistically, all the conversations the last few years of the Open, it's been cleans that have gone heavy, or clean and jerks or complexes. So all roads lead to a snatch being the heavy thing. We'll probably be wrong, but most of the time, if you're prepared, most of the time we're prepared for a heavy clean. But if we don't practice the snatch, under fatigue, we're not prepared for it. You'll lose 10, 15 kilos or 20%, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, good little test for that Monday, Tuesday for those competitive members. On the flip side, your everyday member, you got to pick your battle. Don't try and hit both of those really hard, because I feel like that could end your week. So just be smart about the start of your week.
Awesome. Right, let's wrap it up there then. We will see you all next week for some more nuggets. See you soon.
See you later.